You will.
Very good.
How are you feeling a day after your brother was acquitted and discharged?
Great and normal.
Great and normal.
Yes.
And when you say great, what do you mean? And when you say normal, what do you, because those are two different feelings.
Yes. Great in a sense that God has fought a battle for us. Normal in a sense that it's everyday life.
Great, you believe God has fought a battle for you. Normal because you see it as everyday life.
Yes.
Because for 5 years, I'm sure you've had to go through this with your brother. How do you feel that should be part of your how is that part of everyday life? Everybody feels this is an extraordinary happening in his life.
Yes. In the first place, it's painful to just waste somebody's a professional's 5-year life just for political purpose. But what are we to say? I listened to Mr. Tobu's interview with you. I listened to the Attorney General's whatever he said, and I listened to the IDEC presentation he did on your program right now. All this started from that presentation. The government was not comfortable with it. And you see, the worst aspect of it was that the government took it personal. Meanwhile, it was not directed to NPP. It was directed to successive governments, NPP, NDC. But they took it as a World Cup and tried to find a way to nail him. And the only way to nail him is to associate him with a coup d'etat. And that was what they did.
So from the very moment he did this presentation with the IDEC, he was marked from that beginning, from that moment.
Oh, there were my brother, there were issues after that presentation. But the issue is you can't nail him down with that presentation. You can't, because he was on permission to go and do that presentation. So what have you to say? So they were looking for an opportunity, and they found a frivolous opportunity by associating him with a coup d'etat, which never existed.
Well, let me take you back to 5 years ago, and the first time you heard that your brother was being investigated for being part of people who were planning to overthrow a government, and how you felt.
My brother, before he went to BNI, we knew about it. I'm sure Nancy is over there and he has something to say that may be unofficial. We went for a funeral in our hometown when he returned from Haiti. And that weekend, he had so many calls. So on his return on Sunday, he went to report to Ghana Police Service, the IGP, for debriefing. And that was when he was informed officially that he was wanted by BNI. He went there with his lawyer, Martin Tebu. He was kept there for long. We were around there at Kaukuri Junction there, back and forth. You know, he's a security man, so he also knows their tricks. So it was late in the evening, around 7 p.m. to 8, that they said that no, they were not going to grant him a bail, so they were going to keep him. And that was the beginning of the 5 years journey. And the family was behind him because he himself is a strong man and he carried the family along. He was never waived in any circumstance. He stood his ground, and the family followed him and gave him all the support that he needed.
So for 5 years, you said, were there moments when at least it got to him?
When Hello?
Yes, I was asking whether there were moments when you could see that everything that was happening was getting to your brother, no matter how strong he was.
No, as a human being within him, he will be thinking otherwise. But physically, there was no instance that you see my brother down. There was no insight. I remembered one day we were talking, myself, no, he's older than me, but we are like, we talk about issues like we are age mates. I remember there was one occasion we were talking, and I asked him, your strength is carrying me along. Then he laughed. Because you will not see any sign of him being perturbed, worried about anything. No, within him, fine, he will have that. But physically, you will not see any sign. And those who are closer to him will testify to this.
How has he coped over the period? Because subsequently he was interdicted. He was no longer, for that period, an officer of the Ghana Police Service. The only thing he's known his entire working life. How has he coped with this?
My brother wasn't a police officer alone. He is an academia. He lectures at Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Center and University of Winneba Education School. But because of this issue, Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Center being a state institution, he cannot go there. University of Winneba Education Winneba being a state institution, he cannot go there. But you see, the family was there for him.
What has he been doing? Has he been engaged in any form over this period, or nothing at all? He just have to concentrate on this case.
We were doing some things. As an academia, he will not sit down. With your laptop in front of you, you can do so many things. And don't forget, he is a certified UN trainer. He didn't just go for peacekeeping. He's a certified trainer by United Nations. Just as Mr. Tobu told you.
And yet still someone who has built this track record in life, from the Ghana Police Service to an academician doing University of Education Winneba, Kofi Annan Peacekeeping, certified UN trainer, with this kind of reputation, loses everything overnight. You said he was not ruffled, at least in front of you. He was never ruffled. He never showed signs that this is getting to him.
Exactly. Do you know him personally?
No, I've never had the privilege of meeting him.
Find time and get in touch with him. You will love him. You know, we come from a family that are fearless.
Ghana's gold.
And
gold.
When we believe in what we are doing, nothing takes us off that.
And I also want to, because you said you've had several conversations with him. Whenever during those conversations the matter of his prosecution came up, what did he usually say?
Another interesting aspect. You know that up to this fateful hour, I have never asked my brother whether he was involved in whatever they are saying about him.
You have never?
I have never asked him whether it is true or not. Because everything or anything that my brother would do, he will tell me. To the extent that even the day he went to meet Matam, he came back and told me, I met Matam, I gave him so and so for a medical outward program. When Matam called him on his way to Haiti, he told me he doesn't hide anything from me. So when I started talking after his arrest, when he was in custody and he can't tell his side of the story, I was talking and I was telling all these stories. But we have never sat down to say, this process, what we do is when we go to court and we are back, we look at the defense and prosecution, the cases they put, then we try to discuss and agree and disagree on some of the issues. That is all we do. But to say that, oh, they say you are organizing a coup d'etat, you are part of a coup plotters, and so how did it happen? Never. We have never sat down to discuss anything like that because I know him.
So you had faith in his innocence from day one? From
day one, we knew it was going to end this way, but the date and time is what we don't know.
Well, what happens next? Because I'm sure you heard Martin Kpebu's, lawyer Martin Kpebu's suggestions, who I'm sure you've come to know personally because of his work with your brother. And then you also, I'm sure, know Honorable Peter Lanchin Tobu now, who is also suggesting that at least they should give your brother his 5 years back in the Ghana Police Service. What do you think?
Well, I think they have a point, but that one will depend on the advice from our legal counsel. But the only thing I'm disappointed in is the Attorney General.
Okay.
I don't know. You went to court with a frivolous charges, and it was thrown in your face. And what are you out there saying? What is he out there saying? You went to advise the president that you've got people who are planning coup d'etat, so I'm going to prosecute them. Without, serious investigation and serious prosecution. Three justices, unanimous decision. They threw your case on your face. Then what are you out in the media saying? That small boy should keep quiet. When it comes to this very case, I am not a lawyer, but common sense in law tells us that certain things don't add up. He should keep quiet and go and look for another case and handle.
Well, I want to thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
And we wish you, the family, all the best. We wish you, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo'S, all the best. So, of course, we'll try and see if we will subsequently have a conversation with him on this issue. But thank you.
We'll definitely organize a conversation with you.
Thank you. We'll be very grateful. We'll be very glad. Yeah. Thank you. Sefas Agordzo'S is a junior brother of ACP Dr. Benjamin Agordzo'S. And like I said,